I think there's something else that goes into having genuine character. And I'd like to think that once you leave Assumption High School, whether your team won championships, struggled to be 500, or just struggled to stay out of the basement, that maybe these things would be a few of the traits that you would learn here. And the second one is simply passion. I like being around people who love what they're doing, who have passion for whatever it is they're doing. Because you know what? They don't get fatigued. They don't get bored. They just want to get better. The best kids I've ever coached, they craved good coaching because they had a love of basketball. If you don't have passion, if you're playing for the wrong reasons, to satisfy somebody, but you really don't have it inside, I don't think you'll be as good as you want to be. But when you have passion for something, you just won't give up. And that leads to the next trait that I think is important. And I hope you're learning that here. It's perseverance. It's the ability to bounce back after disappointment. Show me someone who just responds when things are going well, and I'll show you a summer soldier and a sunshine patriot. That's from my old U.S. history teaching days. George Washington, during the Revolutionary War, said, "Don't give me summer soldiers and sunshine patriots." He said, "I want people around me who will fight during the winter, who will fight when things aren't going well. They have the courage and they have the perseverance to stick to something." Now, it's easier to persevere when you're winning. I understand that. But you have to sometimes surround yourself with people who know how to lose. And I don't mean they accept losing, but when they lose, they try to learn from it. They try to figure out, how can I get better? What are the lessons I need to learn? And that resiliency, that ability to bounce back, well, not only is that important in athletics, that will be essential in your life. Because there's one thing I can guarantee all you student athletes here, and your parents can tell you this better than I, you will have to handle some frustration throughout life. You're going to have to deal with out-and-out suffering. You are sometimes going to deal with a job that's lost. You're going to deal with financial problems. You may deal with a marriage that breaks up. And you certainly lose loved ones far too early. If athletics doesn't teach a little bit of that resiliency and perseverance that's needed to handle those circumstances, then I don't think it's worth the money we sink into athletics. I think another trait is courage. Courage to do what you know is right, to do what you know has to be done when people may disagree with you. And I know what you're challenged with when you're in high school especially. It's the courage to stick to a training coach. It's the courage to do what needs to be done when nobody else is watching. Courage is not easy. Sometimes we have fear. Sometimes we are afraid of failure. But as old John Wayne, the old movie actor and cowboy, used to say, courage is having fear but saddling up anyway. And I think when you have that kind of courage, you'll give it your best no matter what. But I also think courage is the ability to learn from our mistakes. What are the things we've done that are wrong? How can we learn from those? How can we once again sometimes make mistakes because of ignorance, but we don't dig a deeper hole because of our arrogance? Final point that I think is important is servanthood. And I feel pretty comfortable speaking about servanthood in a Catholic high school. That should be part of your faith, of what you're learning in your religion classes, of what you're trying to practice. But I'll guarantee you this much. If you practice servanthood on the court, on the field, wherever you're playing your chosen sport, you're going to have a much better team. You're going to have a group of unselfish players. You're going to have players who are thinking about their teammates as much as they're thinking about themselves. We used to tell our team every time we took the floor, we told our team just a few simple things. Once we got done with all of the X's and O's, all of the strategy, the matchups, there were just a few things I always tried to remind our basketball team. One, be who we are. We don't have to try to be somebody we aren't. Two, lean on one another. We will not win or lose because of individuals alone. Lean on your teammate when the going gets tough. Make plays for your teammates. When you think in those terms, you are serving them as well as yourselves. And that is something that is important in life as well as in athletics. Servanthood is not just a biblical idea, it is a way of life. So, assumption. Well, I hope you win a lot of games this coming year. Gary and Joe, I hope you win a lot. I hope all your athletic teams reach their potential. Because in the end, that's all anyone can ask. Can you ask that you win championships? Well, you can shoot for it, but you can demand that people play to their potential. Give it your best and live with it. That's all you can ask of yourself. Because if you give it your best, if you honestly can look at yourself and say, I did everything I could. I prepared in the off-season. I practiced hard. I'm trying to think the team. If you win or lose, you can live with it. But if you aren't giving it your best, if you're paying lip service to great effort, if you're cutting corners, if you're cheating, if you're simply being phony about your effort, then I don't think you should be comfortable with that. And we told our players that every time. There are losses that you can live with because you know you did everything possible to win. So, I believe that this school, as I told you, means a lot to this community. It's not just that big public school up the hill, it used to be up the hill. My first 2 years we were in the old building. Assumption has a special place. I went to 8 years in Catholic school in Little Clintonville, Wisconsin. And I do remember some of the lessons. And I do know that it's important to carry those lessons on. But in the end, and this is for you, the parents, no matter what you've done here at Assumption, no matter how many games you win, there's going to be something else that's going to be most important. Anybody here Maya Angelou? The poet, the author? She's been interviewed a lot. She's one of the most brilliant writers I've ever seen. She said a great quote. She said, people will forget what you did. People will forget what you said. But people will never forget how you made them feel. And I hope that after you're done with your education here, you're going to have a good, warm feeling about what happened. I like my teammates. My coaches pushed me, but geez, they did it because they really just wanted us to be the best we could be. But they cared for us. I hope there are those kinds of feelings, because that's what you will remember. And I'm going to leave you with one other thought. Parents, you still have the opportunity to have great influence on your sons and daughters. Don't be too busy to share their lives, because I'm telling you, in the blink of an eye, they'll be out of high school. They'll be going to high school if we've got, I know, some middle schoolers here. They'll be in college. They'll be on the job. I can tell you that firsthand. My oldest son Jay is a doctor at the Marshall Clinic. It seems like yesterday when he was part of our little kids program when I coached in Rhineland. And then he played for me at Stevens Point. And my son Nick, who was part of our 2 national championships, it can't be he just turned 30. And he's an assistant coach down in Texas Pan American. It just seems like it goes by so fast. Don't cheat yourselves of what's most important. how your children make you feel and how you want to make your kids feel. And I don't play that to make anybody feel guilty. I don't play that for somebody to say, well, I've done that. You still got work to do. If you enjoy a great relationship with your son and daughter, it's one of the best gifts you can have from the Lord. If you got some mending to do, if there's some things that you know you can do better, then get started on it. Because it will be over before the blink of an eye. And I'm telling you, no matter how hard we push our kids to be good at sports, in the classroom, and whatever they do, in the end, they have to know there's unconditional love. That you will love them not for what they do, but for who they are. And I just have a feeling when kids have that kind of confidence, they have to play better in the athletic field. Because they're doing it for the right reasons. So, go Royals. Play to win this coming year. Play to win. Play for one another. Try to avoid fear of failure to the best of your ability. Play for the right reasons. And be a great teammate. I'm not going to bore you with it, but one of the handouts that you got when you came in, hold the rope, was on one side of the sheet. It's about team unity. It's about when you'll know you're playing on a great team, when you never want to let your teammates down. The flip side, and I know I'm getting a little older, is from Don Mattingly. He was a heck of a baseball player for us parents. But he wrote something about being a teammate that I think makes more sense than just about anything else I've read. And not being just a fan, not just being a cheerleader, but being a genuine teammate. Try to do that, and you'll be a big part of the success here at Wisconsin Rapids Assumption. So, yeah, I leave you. Go Royals. Go Royals. God bless you.
So we're going to give him some Assumption Royal wear. When he comes back to cheer us on, won't that be fun to see him wear that?
You know what, I'll really shock people. I'll go to a Lincoln High School game.